Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Now we are going to continue our breakfast show, as today we do have plenty of topics we are going to cover together. The participation of Egypt in the G20 summit, as Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli on behalf of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi addressed the G20 summit yesterday, and he tackled in his speech a number of points. And also we are going to take a quick look at the outcome of the parliamentary elections phase 2, or the House of Representatives election phase 2, as the Egyptian expats flowed to the embassies and consulates all over the world to participate in the elections, to cast their votes, and to continue with practicing this constitutional right to form the parliamentary life of Egypt in the coming period. Also today we are going to have another quick look at what's going on in the Palestinian territories and the efforts exerted to maintain peace there and to implement on the ground the peace plan which was reached in Sharm el-Sheikh Peace Summit, and to also tackle the Egyptian efforts to reach this aim, to help the Palestinians, support the Palestinian cause, and to guarantee the access of humanitarian aid to the Palestinian enclave. As I said, we are going to start with Mustafa Madbouli's speech in the G20 summit. To shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone our prominent guest, Dr. Monica William, Professor of International Relations and our political expert. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Monica, and a very good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Monica, yesterday it was such a speech by Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli in front of the G20 summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, and in fact he dealt with a number of very important issues. Let's start with the call which was introduced, or the invitation which was introduced by Egypt via Dr. Madbouli to invite all the states of the G20 to participate in the early recovery and reconstruction of Gaza conference, which is going to be hosted by Cairo in the very near future. How do you see using this occasion to mention this issue?
Of course, there is no doubt that Egypt is keen to reallocate, and the Gaza file is very important as a high priority regarding finance or recovery the Gaza Strip, of course. And Dr. Mustafa Madbouli address at the summit underscored the strategic vision shaped by current global crossroads, and very important that we shed light on, and he emphasized the need for collective action to comfort intervented geopolitical and specifically, of course, in this regard and in this issue specifically. And of course, as you know, that the summit convened at a moment of intensified geopolitical pressure marked by, of course, the crisis in Gaza and ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, and increasingly the climate negotiation during the UN climate conference in Paris. This overlapping crisis depends visions among major powers, and this adding pressure on the G20 demonstrates its continued relevance as a platform capable of fostering coordination despite profound, if we can see, and the severe strategic disagreements regarding, of course, different and severe issues.
Yes, very well said, Dr. Monica. And as you've kindly mentioned, the G20 summit is a platform to discuss a number of issues which are very much vital to the whole world, not even to a specific area or specific nations. And to echo what you have just said, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli tackled the economic situation, and he said that Egypt is with multilateralism, and he urged the international community to give more space to the emerging markets and to the developing countries to have more share of the economic governance worldwide. How do you see this point, Dr. Monica?
Of course, we have to shed light on the trading or the issues that tackled in this summit. There is a lot of bring these problems as systematic risks requiring both short-term crisis management and longer-term strategic action. So diversify supplies, investing in resilient logistics, regional agriculture value chains, and renewable energy infrastructure.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, of course, that these challenges are collective, and direct sharing, targeted trade facilitation measures, and financing instruments or tools to reduce in low-income states. On the other side, Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, of course, emphasized importance of private and public partnership as a driver of growth, especially in infrastructure and real estate and logistics and manufacturing. He has encouraged investors by showcasing Egypt's expanding network of economic zones in industrial parks and logistics corridors connected to strategic assets such as Suez Canals, which play a central role in global trade, of course. And he highlights unique geographic advantage as a gateway between Africa, Middle East, and Europe, and as a platform for companies seeking access to large regional markets. It's very important. Moreover, he mentioned that there is a beautiful role in shaping investment-friendly environment by promoting policy framework grounded in transparency and credibility. The government has implemented a series of measures aimed at enhancing investor confidence. Most notably is a state ownership policy document, of course, which outlines clear sectors where the state will withdraw, maintain, or expand its presence, thereby providing investors with visibility on future market dynamics. So it's very important, and the government advanced regulatory reforms to streamline business procedures, reduce bureaucratic barriers, and expand digitalization across investment services, of course.
Yes, and among the other points which were also mentioned by Dr. Mustafa Madbouli, the debt issue, and to have another reform policy for the debt swapping, for the debts in general, as debts can be considered as one of the most important or the most painful, let me put it this way, obstacles on the way to achieve sustainable development by the developing countries. How do you see this issue also, and what do you think the reaction of the developed or big economies on this?
Of course, the summit agenda concentrates on a cluster of interlinked challenges, as we said earlier. Most important of this is sovereign debt sustainability in low and middle income countries, financing the energy transition, and the climate resilience. So it's very important in global financial markets, including, of course, non-bank financial intermediation and food insecurity and supply chain. So it's ensure developing countries capture value from critical minerals or digitalization. There were a very important and high priority of the South Africa present and product finance and third track. So states should combine three pillars in this regard: coordinated macro policy discipline and rebuilding physical buffers while perceiving targeted social support, and strength international financial safety nets and clearer debt restructure to prevent spillovers. And the very important point is the practical cooperation on trade and supply chain resilience. So it targets deep risk rather than all this duplication. Effective collective policy requires credible rules, shared benefits, and conditions there to protect the most vulnerable without professionalism.
Yeah, right, you are, Dr. Monica. In fact, Dr. Mustafa Madbouri said it or put it this way: trade is one of the vital points of inclusive, sustainable growth. Well, Dr. Monica, thank you very much for your input and have a very good morning. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.